Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I picked up the AiVolt 1600 watt generator from Amazon at a price of $289. Let's take it out of the box and have a look at it and see if it really does what it says and if this might be a good generator for you. Okay, now that it's out of the box, let's get a really close look at it and some of the features, and I'm going to talk about why I purchased this and why this might be the generator that you may want to consider purchasing for yourself. So if we look at the front control panel here, we can very clearly see that this has a peak wattage of 1600 watts and 1260 running watts. Coming in a little bit closer, we can see we've got three lights: output, overload, and low oil, as well as an hour meter, the engine on-off switch, the eco mode switch, a reset button, a CO alarm, parallel connectivity, a USB-A and a USB-C, as well as two Edison type outlets. We've also got the air intake here on the bottom. Coming around to the other side, we have the choke lever right here. We have the fuel on and fuel off. Standard fuel cap with the vent open and closed. We do not have a fuel gauge. Standard pull start. And on the back, we just have your standard muffler with the spark arrestor, and you may want to take this off every once in a while and clean it out. To take that off, you're going to have to take off all of these screws and then remove that little set screw, and it'll pull right out. Coming up to the top of the unit, I did loosen this ahead of time. We have a nice big opening for the spark plug, but it is a little tight in there, and the spark plug boot is right here. I should also mention it came with a funnel, a toolkit, which basically has a screwdriver and a socket to remove the spark plug, as well as a very large quick start guide, which goes through all the information that you need, such as adding the engine oil, checking it on the dipstick, don't overfill it. Talks about gasoline, and it talks about basic operation of the generator. And then on the other side, it has a maintenance guide, which is pretty handy because it will show you how often you should change the oil, check the air filter, spark arrestor, as well as give you some basic oil information. So let's go ahead and take off the side panel of the generator, because I want to take a look at the inside, and then we're going to go ahead and add oil and add some fuel. And I want to talk about why this generator really should be in everybody's toolkit or garage, because there's just no reason not to have a generator this inexpensive, provided that it works the way it says it does. Okay, so I went ahead and I removed the side panel. It was one screw, and I used the included screwdriver, which is Phillips or flathead. You could pull it out and reverse it. Now, the one thing I looked at initially on here, and it kind of disappointed me, was that I can't easily see the carburetor. And you're probably asking, well, why do you want to see the carburetor? And that's very simple. I want to be able to drain the extra fuel from the float bowl before I store this. So what I did was I decided to open up the air cleaner and take a look inside here and see if maybe there is a way to access it. Now, it does have a little foam filter that I'm going to have to put a little oil on, when all of a sudden I discovered that even though the carburetor is behind this whole panel, I don't need to take this off. And I didn't realize it from looking at it initially, and it's not in the instructions. But this little screw right here, and I hope you can see it, is actually the screw to drain the extra fuel from the carburetor bowl, and it flows down this little hose right here. So despite my initial trepidation, this actually looks perfect and has exactly what I was looking for, which is the ability to drain the fuel from the carburetor. Because what I want to do today is I want to set this up, I want to add oil, we're going to start it, we're going to check the decibel with the decibel meter, we're going to plug in my fridge, and it's a Sub-Zero built-in fridge. We're going to plug in a few lights, the computer, phone charger, and router, and if it can power all of that, I'm happy, and I consider this a successful test. And now, the reason I say that you may want to consider this, depending on how the testing results go today, is I want you to maybe pause the video and walk over to your fridge and open the door. Take a look inside your fridge, and if you have more than $289 worth of food or perishables that would be lost if you had a 24-hour power outage, then there's just simply no reason not to buy this. This would pay for itself in the very first power outage that you preserve everything in your fridge. Okay, so according to the manual here, this takes 0.35 liters of oil, and we're going to put in 10W30 because that's generally the best oil. Okay, so we are all filled up with oil. Did not even make a mess. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to open this up. I'm going to put just a little bit of gasoline in here, because what I want to do is I want to get it started. We're going to let it run for about a minute, and then I'm going to take out my decibel meter, and we're going to do a quick decibel check at 20 feet to see if it is as quiet as they say it is. And then we're going to pull this a little bit closer to the house, and I'm going to take out my trusty extension cord reel, and we're actually going to go inside and plug in the fridge, a couple of lights, the computer, phone charger, and make sure it actually does what it says. I'm also going to put the kilowatt meter on here just to see what kind of power we're getting. All right, so we're on start. Choke is on. Vent cap is on. Let's see how many pulls this takes. Let's just check actually to make sure that the switches are on. Eco mode is off, engine is on. All right, let's see how this starts. Wow. That's amazing, guys. That started up first pull, and I don't know if you can hear it from the microphone, but this is super, super quiet. I have a lot of generators. This might actually be the quietest of every generator that I own. And again, maybe it's because it's a pretty small size, but this is a very, very quiet generator. Okay guys, while the generator is idling in the background, and hopefully you can still hear me okay, I just want to show you for the next part of the test that I'm using my top test decibel meter, which is what we're going to use to check the decibel level. I picked this up a while ago, and I've only used it once or twice, but it's an excellent, excellent meter. And as you may know from some of my other videos, I own a lot of top test equipment. I have a refrigerant leak detector, I have a carbon monoxide meter, and I think they make really high quality meters. And I'm going to put a link to this just in case you're interested. This is the decibel meter right here. It has a nice protective cover over the actual microphone so it doesn't get damaged while you're storing it. It's just a really nice unit. Okay, I have taken out a measuring tape and positioned myself 20 feet from the generator. Now, mind you, we are on asphalt and concrete, so the sound is going to echo a little bit more than if I had put this, say, in a yard. But let's take a look. I'm going to put the meter in front of the camera, and I'm going to stop talking. That's really good. We're at about 58.9. I just paused it right there. 58.6. Guys, that is really, really, really quiet. We'll check this again. Let me put it in eco mode and see if that changes things. Okay, I just switched it over to eco mode, and let me stop talking and let's take a look. 55 decibels. That, guys, this is very, very quiet. I just want to point something out here. I went to turn the knob to off so I could turn this off before I move it over to the patio, and I love that the knob is actually a fuel cutoff. So it's on off and it's burning out the fuel in the line, which I think is amazing. That is exactly what I want to see. Okay guys, so I went inside to go grab this reel and the kilowatt meter. I couldn't even hear this. It is so quiet. I am so impressed, and I hope that those decibel meter readings have shown you just how quiet this is. But what I want to do now is I want to hook the reel up to it. I want to plug in the kilowatt, and let's see kind of what power we're getting, and then we're going to bring this inside and plug in some devices. Now, I turned the fuel off. I let it drain out the line or burn out the line, so it may take a pull or two to get this restarted again, but let's give it a try. It was running, so I'm not going to put the choke back on. There we go. Started right back up. And we're going to bring the reel inside. Alright. Now I'm going to plug the kilowatt meter in, and I'll bring it over to the camera so that you can see with me what kind of power we're getting. It'd help if I turn the reel on. Oh, you know, based on where this plug is, I'm actually turning it off when I plug it in. Alright, let me bring this over to the camera so you can see what we're getting. Hopefully we can see this together. We're getting 123.5 volts, so that is perfect. That is exactly what I want to see. Alright, let's go inside and start plugging in some devices. Okay guys, I've got the extension cord running through the door. We're going to plug this fridge in just a minute. This is a Sub-Zero. Pretty sizable fridge. I have no doubt that it's going to power this with no issue. But here comes the extension cord. I just want to show you that I've got the reel plugged in right here and powering a lamp. No issues at all. Powering all my sensitive computer devices. My MacBook is charging. There are no issues here at all with this generator. I am so impressed. And I'm going to stop talking for a minute just so you can maybe hear. You can't even hear the generator. You can hear the fridge. but not even the generator. All right, let me grab another extension cord. The fridge, I've got to open this cabinet and plug it in through there because that's where it's plugged in. Let's give that a try. Okay, I've now got the fridge plugged in, the computer, the light, the monitor. Everything is working perfect. Let's go take a look, and then we're going to go outside and see what it sounds like. That yellow one is the cord going to the generator. The orange one is powering the fridge. Let's just come back outside. Guys, we're still in eco mode. We have barely even come off of idle. In my personal opinion, this is an absolute, complete, smashing success. I love this unit. It was $289. I cannot even stress enough to you just how quiet the generator is and how useful it is for anyone that has, a need for backup power. If you have more than $289 worth of food in your refrigerator, you just simply have no excuse to not buy a unit like this. Guys, I wanted to wrap the video up by just saying I'm super impressed by this generator. I picked it up because it was the cheapest inverter generator that I could find on Amazon, and it met all expectations, and in fact it exceeded them. It's super quiet, super inexpensive. I paid $289. I'm sure the price varies. I'll put a link to it. I'll also put a link to the top test meter that I used. Guys, you can power your fridge, you can power lights, you can power computers, you can power phone chargers. It's got about a 1-gallon tank. I think you're going to get about 6 to 8 hours on a gallon. It's incredibly quiet. It's actually quieter than any generator that I own. And if you have more than $289 worth of food in your fridge, you just simply have no excuse not to pick this up. Thanks for watching. Leave some questions and comments. I'll do my best to answer.